every generation has their artist. Okay, boomers they have the Beatles. Gen X they have the Michael Jackson obviously. I don't know what. Oh yeah, millennials is Taylor Swift, and Gen Z it's still not really determined. As Gen Z artists are still relatively new. So yeah, every artist has their generational artist as well. There are artists that just defines their generation as well. The reason why I picked those three artists in particular is the Beatles is I think the best selling artist of all time, and still I think the most talked about artist from the '60s as well. The one that's referenced the most, the best selling, the one people remember the most, obviously as well. Okay, Michael Jackson, that's for obvious reasons, and of course we have Taylor Swift. Considering the fact that her career is still long standing. Of course, the Beatles, like some of the Beatles members, are actually dead. Michael Jackson's, of course, unfortunately dead. There's, of course, tons of conspiracy theories about that, but Taylor Swift is gonna be, still talked about probably in 50 years, like Michael Jackson is. Beatles probably will still be talked about in 50 years. And we can actually talk about other artists that could be remembered in 50 years as well, or at least in 20 years as well. For example, people still talk about Britney Spears now, and she doesn't really make music anymore. At least, music that the general public will consume as well. Okay, yeah, and but her older songs are still relatively popular. And heck, Madonna, who her high day was in the '90s. Well, guess what? People still listen to her old music. Not that much, but people still listen to her. But I think Taylor Swift is above Madonna and Britney Spears in terms of popularity as well. Kind of similar, as like the defining artist of that generation. Of course, Madonna was always going to be outbeat by Michael Jackson, who was the most popular artist of the Gen X era of music. And of course, you have the Boomer era music, which is the Beatles. I think that's very fair for that. The classic rock era and stuff. '60s, the Boomers, when Boomers grew up, and Gen Z as well is all of the art. I think of Gen Z artists, all of the artists are still relatively new. Like all of the Gen Z artists, are around the same age as me. So around the same age as me. So yeah. And so but Taylor Swift has 763 million fans worldwide. It has become the largest artist globally as well. This is on levels, of course, I said Michael Jackson and the Beatles, of the artist that defines a generation as well. And I think the second closest artist that defines this generation, I think, probably will be Drake as well, considering that Drake's music also was very popular. But again, Drake's career had a massive downfall as well. But I think like, in terms of rap music, you may make a case for like that specific genre. Then yes, he would probably still be the most popular artist in the rap community. But when it comes to just music overall, Taylor Swift I think is more popular than Drake is now. Considering the fact that Drake's new songs this year, yeah, Drake released songs this year. They all like did poorly on the charts and on Spotify streams as well. Okay, and what could be the next artist of Gen Z? Well, for some people may not be very happy to see this, but hear this. But of course, this wouldn't be too surprising. But the artist that will likely define Gen Z will most likely be Billie Eilish as well. But of course, there could be someone that could become popular throughout the Gen Z that could become even more popular as well. Also, you're starting to see a shift throughout the 2010s of female artists becoming more defining as society becomes less sexist and misogynistic as well, towards female artists as well. Which, and especially with Taylor Swift's case, we could go over the history of her music. Country, a mostly male dominated genre, Taylor Swift was able to win awards even and also sell pretty well despite being a female country singer in a massively male dominated genre. And then of course he made pop, which again that's a more there's way more female pop artists even back then like Rihanna and Katy Perry and Miley Cyrus, and of course Lady Gaga. Even though Lady Gaga has probably done almost every genre besides heavy metal as well. Okay, as well, and of course Taylor Swift then made folk music as well. Okay, with Evermore and Folklore, which Folklore won Album of the Year, and then now we have Modern Taylor, which is more synth pop as well. And of course, TTPD was more low beat music as well. And The Life of a Soul Girl is more like Midnights as well. It's more like Midnights in 1989 than, as well. But Taylor Swift has always changed. And of course, Taylor Swift also has so many albums as well here. Taylor Swift continues to reign supreme here. And yeah, Motown Journey is really truly Swift mania. And yeah, and a lot of countries, almost every country, Taylor Swift was very popular in. Okay, and this whole argument is no one knows outside the U.S. Even though 763 million people. That's more than the U.S., the U.K., Australia, and Canada combined as well. Okay, and and here's the funny thing: not everybody in those countries like Taylor Swift. There's tons and tons of people who hate Taylor Swift and hate her music. So yeah, goodbye.